What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today when I talk to you about SERV Robotics, I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what has really been moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So on Friday, it went up a very impressive 28.93%, 1960 the high, 1460 the low. At the same time, you are seeing a lot of volume, so 20.02 million shares being traded, 9.9 is the average. So my last video on SERV was roughly November, which at the time I did say that there was a little bit more downside coming, and that's just because institutions weren't really buying it and whatever else, and it looks like it did pull down like a good 20-something% since that time period. But obviously recently it's been gaining a lot of good momentum, and so of course obviously this is what is prompting this video. Just wanted to do a quick revisit, and generally one thing that I like to look at is this right here. So these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000, and you are seeing a overwhelming amount of buying. So like I said, based on my last video, you didn't see this whatsoever. You saw maybe one or two transactions, not this. So a lot of big money is legitimately buying it. So this isn't like algorithmic trading. This isn't something just to artificially prop it up. This is true institutions buying. So this is definitely a very positive sign. Looking at this coming from a operational standpoint, there hasn't been all that much in updates since my last video. So I think there is just a lot of speculation around the company itself. But with the recent data that did come out on Friday in regards to manufacturing, that does go to show and kind of validates that the market is very, very strong. So came in at 49.3, forecast is 48.5. So this is what has kind of big money really frantically looking across the board for any value plays or any stocks that kind of didn't really participate in the recent rally. And of course I'm talking on November, which during that time period this stock kind of lagged, as you can kind of see. So essentially this is what is drawing a lot of big money to SERV Robotics. As well, I can't see any PR to validate this, but I've seen online some rumors that SERV Robotics is at the upcoming CES event between January 7th and the 10th in Las Vegas. So generally that is good. The most innovative companies are there. So logically it would make sense for SERV to be there, but like I said, I don't see them on having a booth unless they are somehow working alongside maybe a unknown partner or something along those lines. But that in reality would be a very good catalyst. Aside from that, there was a couple SEC filings that did come out after hours on Friday as well as Thursday. So Form 4s and also 144s, they're basically the same thing. Does show insiders are selling, but this one right here, who is the chief hardware and manufacturing officer, did sell for transaction code S. It was only 40 shares, nothing really crazy, but it says for tax purposes. So not really worried about that. And then the second one, it just shows that it was planned ahead of time pursuant to Rule 10b5-1. So nothing really to worry about in my opinion. But one thing that I obviously not really looking at this company since November am very shocked by is shorts. So for instance, on Friday, shorts increased 204,000 shares. 10.83% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 2.71 million shares overall are being shorted. So that's not the surprising part. What shorts have been doing for the last month, that is what is surprising. Shorts have been returning, and normally with a lot of spec plays have been running up. So for instance, I don't know if a lot of you have been paying attention to quantum stocks or whatever else, but they've also been running like a crazy madman. But shorts have been at the same time increasing in a lot of those cases. This one, it's definitely a very interesting scenario. So I think by them returning over the last month for the most part, it kind of does validate the fact that SERV should be higher. And to kind of piggyback off of that mentality, looking over at options, you see that market makers recently did raise the strike prices to as high as $35. So once again, they don't do that unless they do see upside coming for the actual stock itself. So in reality, even though it's ran up a good 100 and something percent, so 116% over the last 1 month, there still could be a hell of a lot more room for it to run up. And I know that sounds kind of weird to say, especially it went up 29% on Friday alone, but sometimes you gotta read the data, and the data is signaling that there's more upside, and potentially big money is actually buying the hell out of this stock. So a couple of things to note though. So 5.01 million in calls from Friday, 937,000 in puts, 50% of all the options being done were optimistic in nature, and of the call options there is a consensus for it to be above, looks like 20, and then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 16. So a little bit more downside, but I think that's to be expected just based on the 30% run that did happen on Friday. But right now with it at 1903, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. So 1798 is going to be a strong support, and then flip side 1925, 2130 is going to be the next strong target slash resistance points. So like I said, just kind of watch for that. This stock seems to be on a very good run, although there hasn't been all that much in analyst ratings, but given the momentum, I'm sure there's a lot of analysts that are actually paying attention to it very, very closely. So just watch for some new ratings to come out. But on the actual chart itself, it is above the ALMA, all the key pivotal moving averages that I generally like to look at. So their technicals look a-okay for a nice continued run. At the same time, looking at stochastic RSI, it is rather oversold, so that's kind of aiding in it going up. But just looking at the last 2 days, it has been one crazy roller coaster. So let me know your thoughts on SERV. Do you see more upside? Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What's your overall thoughts on SERV? And if you want more regular updates, drop a comment in the description below, letting me know that you are interested in that, and I can definitely consider adding this to the mix, or even covering it under my trending stocks, because yeah, if it picks up and continues this good momentum, then definitely it would be justified to be covered under there. But yeah, let me know your viewpoint on all that. One final thing though, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, such as even this one. Just I didn't catch on to this one, but there's a lot of other signals out there that have done very similar in the last day and a half. So pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below, and also the comments with all that. Appreciate all of you watching.